welcome to this week's Down Home with Tina. I'm Tina Thompson, and I've got a couple of things I want to share with you before I get to my guest. One of them is something you probably don't know about me, is that, well, my dad, that is. My dad was a truck driver for a few years when I was young, and I just want to give a shout out to any of you who have done truck driving in the past. If you're a truck driver these days, you have a loved one that's a truck driver. I have done a lot of traveling and driving, behind the driver in the driver's seat since I was 16. I think I was going back and forth on a regular basis to one of my aunts who lives down near Cincinnati. So I've been on the road a lot. One thing I've always done was I've always been respectful to our truck drivers, and I just want to again give a shout out to them, and if you know one, thank them, because they've continued through this pandemic to do what they got to do to get our stuff where we need to get our stuff. I know we've got a lot of those who are doing the deliveries and things like that, but those truck drivers that are on the road and living out of their trucks, just thank you, and Godspeed and blessings to all of you. And also something else I wanted to let you know before I go and we get to the guests is as I did last week, I dressed up in 70s, and I want to do something like that about once a month. So if you have a suggestion of a fun character that you would like for me to be on one of the shows, now there's like two parts of it. One of them, if I choose yours, then I will send you a treat in the mail or be delivered to you somehow, some way. And also, if you do that as well, you cannot guess what I am, because I want folks to guess what I am. So you can only get one treat, I guess. You can't get two. So therefore, kind of keep it on the down low if you see that outfit and that costume and you know that you were the one. And first come, first serve on that. So if three people recommend one character, that might not happen, but it could, then it's going to be the first one to state it. You can go to my Facebook, Down Home with Tina, and send me a private message if you'd like, or you can always email downhomewithtina@gmail.com and let me know what you think would be fun. I'm trying to keep it in my blonde. I can't be blonde, I mean. There are so many blonde characters out there that I'm kind of like, oh, a brunette, so that way you can, So don't go anywhere. I've got some really fabulous guests coming up here in just a couple of minutes. You are watching Down Home with Tina.
Dagger Law has been part of the Lancaster community for more than 110 years. This is where we live and work. You'll see us at festivals, sporting events, and all around town. We consider our clients as friends, and we walk alongside you through challenging times. Whether you're a growing business, a changing family, facing litigation, planning your future, or dealing with land issues, we're right here. We are local. We are trusted. We are experienced. Dagger Law.
The Frankie Smith Funeral Home and Crematory in Lancaster and the Johnson Smith Funeral Home in Baltimore have a long and wonderful history of serving our community. Feel free to give us a call at 740-653-0652. Stop in and see us at either of our two locations, 405 North Columbus Street in Lancaster and 207 South Main Street in Baltimore. Respect for tradition, regard for change.
Welcome back to Down Home with Tina. I am the host, Tina Thompson. I'm so excited. Amy Carpenter is with me. She is the founder of the Hank Kabel Sarcoma Foundation. It is a really great foundation where they have something going on every month, and I'm glad that you can be here with me again. You've got something that we've been trying to get you in, and I'm so sorry, but it's only January, and a lot of folks still need their calendar. But before we get to the calendar, Amy, let's remind those folks who may be new viewers or something about it, or let them know. What is the Hank Kabel Sarcoma Foundation?
So the Hank Kabel Sarcoma Foundation is all based on the love of my life, which was my dog Hank. And it's so funny because all my friends say, if you know Amy, you know Hank. And so Hank basically was my nephew. He's my sister's dog. And in 2013, he was diagnosed with a rare cancer called sarcoma. And what I found out that I didn't know at the time was that dogs get sarcoma 5 times more than people. And the second most common is children, which is why I wanted to focus on Lancaster City Schools this year to connect, the two creatures we love the most in our life and that give us the most unconditional love is children and animals.
Yes.
And the other thing that I found out is that dogs get cancer 1 in 3. Same statistic for women, and men are 1 in 2. And I didn't know any of that. And so we fought his cancer just like people do. We did chemo, we did radiation, we did surgery. We drove all the way to Colorado State University, who had the best sarcoma doctor in the whole United States.
Yeah.
And even then, after an 8-hour-long surgery, his cancer metastasized, which is the bad thing about sarcoma. It's rare, and it also is, just like cancer, it metastasizes. You can't control it. And so we had his surgery in July of 2014, and then I lost him in the middle of November of 2014.
What are the funds that you're raising for the foundation? What are they going to go towards? Is it towards
Yes.
cancer research?
Yes.
And
So
such?
we have for our mission statement, we have 2 things that we really focus on. The first one is to raise awareness, because when Hank was diagnosed, I had no clue that dogs got cancer, and I had never heard of sarcoma. And the only thing that I saw, because I was his aunt and I didn't live with him, he was an outdoor dog, is we were walking one day and he lifted his leg to go to the bathroom and nothing came out. And I remember thinking that seemed weird to me, but I know male dogs mark their territory.
Yeah.
And as we walked on, he did go to the bathroom. So I dismissed it. And he had just been in for his wellness check. So I just dismissed it. I didn't think it was anything, to really focus on. And so one of my big passions is to bring awareness. And so I'm always posting, which I know you see on my Facebook, since we're Facebook friends, constantly check your dog. Every month, look for the signs of sarcoma and canine cancer. So raising awareness is our first part of our mission. And the second one is raising money. And so we have an endowment with Ohio State University. And so when we ever, usually about twice a year, we make donations. One is in honor of Hank's birthday in March, and the other is when we lost him in November. Okay. And so we're real close with the veterinary school up there.
Nice.
And we donate to them for their research to try to make an improvement.
Are there preventative measures if you do catch this in time?
Yes, so the big thing with sarcoma is that early detection is very important, and that's why I'm constantly posting about look for the signs, because I think a lot of people, just like me, didn't know what to look for. And there's several signs which you can see in our calendar and you can see on our Facebook page and website. But just like if they're lethargic, they're not eating, they could be drinking too much, not drinking enough.
Okay.
And your pet, so if something's off.
Oh, yes.
And instead of waiting and watching, like a lot of people will tell you to do, get into the vet and do your, once or twice a year, checks, and just make sure that your vet thinks that everything's on track. They seem to be doing okay, even if you don't see signs, because maybe there's something that they can catch, that you don't even notice, just on an accident of an exam.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. I think this is so cool, though, that you got together with the Lancaster City Schools.
Yeah.
And I believe that teaching the children also, if you get an opportunity to, it's young, about how to be with dogs and how to interact with them and things like that is so important. And I just think it's the neatest thing, because you actually have these dogs and pictures with some kids.
Yeah, and what's so neat is I also have a children's book that we've talked about before, Tina, and actually wrote 2 children's books about Hank. Hank's Visit to the Doggy Store, which is on Pet Supplies. It was based on Pet Supplies Plus, excuse me. And then the other one is Hank the Miracle Dog, which is his basically his story of his cancer diagnosis and his treatment. And in the back of that book, I put a whole bunch of information about how to diagnose cancer in your animal. And it's kind of above the kids' head, but I put it in there more for parents. So that they can educate the kids, because a lot of times the kids spend more time with the dogs than the parents.
Absolutely.
So if they're educating, if the parents are educating the kids, and then they know what to look for, then they can catch it in their own animals.
Yes, as they get older.
Yeah. And the neat thing about the front of this year's cover is this was Hank and our neighbor kids. When we moved into our new house in 2014, these were the neighbor kids. And I didn't know it at the time, which was just so funny. When we moved in, my mom was cleaning the house, and she texted me. She goes, "I think Hank has a new girlfriend," and he was looking out the back window at the neighbor dog, and then this was the neighbor dog's human sisters, and so we became friends. Which I knew their mom anyways. We grew up together. And so we became friends, and they would come over and knock on the door. Can Hank come out and play today? So this was an example of one of their play dates in the backyard. And this is the picture that first came to my mind when I thought about doing this calendar with Steve Wigton from the Lancaster City Schools, because I thought, this is perfect. You know, it just shows how much the kids loved Hank and how much he loved them. And it's the two most vulnerable creatures and the ones who give us the most love. And so we need to combine, you know, and partner together to try to make a difference.
I think children can love unconditionally just as much as our animals,
Exactly.
because they are so new of not, you know. Yeah. So of
Exactly.
Not, yes.
I agree.
Oh, so okay. So how can folks purchase one of these calendars?
So we still have some available, and they can go to the www.hankkabelsarcomafoundation.com. That's our website, and if you go there and order one, you'll pay for the shipping and it'll be delivered to your house. I can mail it out, or if you want to contact me at 740-974-2811, I can just deliver it to your house. You can just write a check or cash and I can deliver it to you.
So each month it highlights what? I mean, you
so
don't have to
each
show us the
month,
full calendar.
and this year's calendar is a different school in Lancaster City school system. And so due to the COVID, we had to be different this year. And so we kind of did like a, what is it, like a Brady Bunch? Is that what you kind of call it? Where, you know, each quadrant of pictures, you know. And so the different teachers at each school sent in pictures of them with their dogs. And so each school in the Lancaster City school system is featured. And then there's even a month, and I can't remember which one it is. I think it's towards the back of the calendar, that our superintendent Steve Wigton and other personnel employees and school board members, they wanted to be in on the action too, and they submitted pictures of them with their dogs.
Yes.
And then the neat thing about the calendar, which you already know, Tina, that we have every year, is that local businesses do ads in our calendar, and then it's only $100 for an ad, and then you're advertising for the whole year, and I think each ad's about 3 to 4 times a year, which is pretty cheap advertising to be, you know, see your ad 3 or 4 times a year throughout a whole year.
And that helps to purchase.
And what that does is when you donate the $100 and you do your ad, that pays for the cost of the calendar, making it.
Yes.
And then Gordon Bernard produces it for us. But it's free for us if we get enough ads, and then the money that we make from the sale of each calendar all goes for raising awareness and money. And then in the back of the calendar, which I know you already know, Tina, but for those who don't know, every year we put information in the back about sarcoma in humans and sarcoma in dogs, and then specifically canine cancer. And this year we placed it in the front because we wanted to have this diagram as a quick thing for people to look at and hang up in their house and just be like, oh, my dog's lethargic. They're not eating as much. I need to pay attention to that. And then you're going to have people like me who love all the details, and then they can find that in the back of the calendar with all the specifics.
And it can be read to the kids too.
Yes, and they can read that to the kids.
Yes.
And then specifically sarcoma in humans, the different kinds of sarcoma. And then in the back this year, we put about cancer in the dogs and kids, which is what they both have in common is sarcoma. And there's actually, I think, 4 other types of cancers that dogs and kids have in common.
Amy, so much information, and it is so great, and I'm so glad to have you. I cannot believe that our time is about up already. So folks, because you do have something, we could. I know we could. She's such a sweetheart. So please let folks know how they can continue to follow with what's going on throughout the year.
So we have a Facebook page which we post a lot to, and it's just under the Hank Kabel Sarcoma Foundation. And so go ahead and follow us on Facebook. That's where we put all of our events, and we're going to be doing an event a month at Pet Supplies Plus on Edie Road, and then throughout the summer months we do a yard sale every day. We also have Hank's race coming up second Saturday of July, and then we'll be announcing our new calendar for 2022.
Perfect. Yes. Awesome. Amy's always so busy, and she's just a blessing to have, so I'm so glad. Thank you for all of the great information that you share and that you put out there for folks.
Thank you.
It's very, very important. It could be life-saving, so to our furry pet and also for our loved ones. So anyways, folks, don't go anywhere. I'll be back in just a minute. Going to highlight a local teacher. It's down here with Tina.
Hi, I'm Amanda Wattenberg, Regional Director at Ohio Guidestone. Do you or does someone you know have a substance abuse disorder? Have you been thinking about getting help, but don't know where to start? It takes a lot of courage to ask for help, but it's the most important step you can take. If you think you know everything that's available in Fairfield County, think again. Like other chronic diseases, addiction can be managed successfully. Treatment enables people to counteract addiction's powerful, disruptive effects on the brain's behavior and regain control of their lives. Even if it takes multiple attempts, treatment does work and people do recover from addiction every day. So keep trying because your life matters. You matter, and we're here to help. Call 211 and ask for the treatment resources available right here in Fairfield County.
This message is brought to you by the Fairfield County Adam H. Board.
Welcome back to Down Home with Tina. I am going to highlight a teacher this segment, and it was really awesome because Nathan Hale at the administration office of the Lancaster City Schools, he recommended Dylan Sharp to be my guest for me to highlight. And Dylan, you are somewhat new at teaching, right?
I am. This is my second year teaching.
What has it been like in the 2 years that you've been teaching?
It's been a ride. It's been a roller coaster, that's for sure. A lot of ups, a lot of downs. So I came in last in 2019, the fall of 2019, and I taught pretty much almost a full year. So I was really excited. We were getting into March, late February, moving into March. We're getting ready that last stretch of the year. We almost made it to the fourth quarter, and that's when we all got shut down. So we got shut down in first year. I'm still trying to kind of get the ropes for myself.
Yeah.
And then when we get thrown, the ropes are just nowhere to be found, right? So you kind of got to make your own ropes as we go along. So that was definitely very interesting, trying to kind of guide where I need to go, how I need to do and go about my teaching, how hard I need to push my students during a difficult time like that we faced in the March. And then going into this school year, it was kind of a toss-up on what we wanted to do. We didn't know until July 30th that we were going to go to the blended model. So as a teacher, we weren't really sure all summer. I don't know about other teachers, but me personally, I'm thinking about pretty much school all summer. That's what's on my mind, thinking about going back to school. And when I saw, when we saw that we were going blended, we're like, okay, well, this is new for us. We've never done anything like this before. So we're trying to work out all the specifics and stuff like that. And it's just been really, really great for me to be around so many great colleagues that I have at Lancaster High School, many of which taught me while I was there. And I've just been so blessed to be able to kind of, look at what they're doing, talk to them about certain conversations that they're having with their students, and try to figure out a goal in mind for how we can run our classrooms.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I want to touch more on that as well. Your subject that you teach is math, correct?
Mm-hmm, correct.
College prep, I know we talked just a little bit.
So I teach college prep geometry, general geometry, and then I also teach college prep algebra 1, which is a virtual class this year, and then general algebra 1.
Why did you choose the math as the subject to teach?
So I don't know what it was about me. I know a lot of people don't like math, but growing up, I was always fascinated by numbers. I sat at the kitchen table a lot when I was a kid in grade school doing a lot of times tables. I know we talked a little bit about that before. My mom would put me through. She'd put the timer up on the microwave. We got to get those things done in time. So, I always was just fascinated by the numbers and how math worked. And I actually found myself growing up a lot helping the neighborhood kids, helping my cousins with their math. So I think that's probably where a lot of it stemmed from, was me, math being the most difficult subject for a lot of people, helping them in that subject.
Have you always been, I'm going to say this, like patient in teaching kids or other people?
I have. We actually, when I was a kid, like I said, helping my neighborhood friends and my cousins and stuff, I would set up a classroom in my bedroom. And that was, a lot of kids play. When they go out and play, they're playing football, they're doing all these things. I was playing classroom when I was the teacher and they were the students. So I have learned that patience starting at a very young age, trying to run my own classroom at like 6 or 7 years old.
But with not real students though?
There were not real students. I had everything as far as to setting up the dummies for them, or just having some, my mom step in as a student or my cousin coming over and hanging out. So we had a lot of different students over the years.
I love that. No, because I just never could get math, and we played teacher with friends, and we would tell Jimmy that he was bad and put him in the corner. I don't think that was a great way for us to be patient, and I never did learn well and do well in math. So, I take that back. I did like numbers myself, and that's what I wanted to talk to you a little bit about, because is math a very tough subject when you are in this blended model and what you're doing, and what happened last spring with your students and trying to teach them?
Absolutely, absolutely.
'Cause man.
We have lost a lot of class time. So they were in class 5 days a week. Now they're only in class 2 days a week. So the time that I see, the 82 minutes that I get to spend with my students, or 84 minutes I get to spend with my students, is so valuable. And it's so hard to just not want to soak up every single aspect of that with math.
Yeah.
You know, as me being a former student not too long ago, I know you can't just cram everything into one period. You can't just talk about one subject for 42 minutes straight. You kind of got to break it up a little bit, bring in some other subjects and some other topics to kind of keep them interested.
Dylan, can you be creative in teaching math in the way that you're doing it now? I mean, because I wouldn't even know how to begin to be creative in math, but maybe you can.
Yeah, I would say pretty much everything we are doing right now, no matter what subject you're in, is creative. What we're doing this year looks nothing like what we've been doing in the past years.
Wow.
And you know, the veterans that have been there for many years, they would tell you the same thing. And I think one of the most proud moments for me being a teacher is seeing all these veteran teachers that have been there, changing kids' lives for 30 plus years.
Right.
And they're in this later stage of their career, and they are still finding ways to get better and change kids' lives for the better. So I just think it's very, very interesting and inspiring as a young teacher to see these guys changing their ways and learning so many new things.
Is there one specific or a particular thing that you've learned in the last year that you know right from the start that this is something I'm going to have to apply to my teaching from the veterans, or it's maybe been more than just one thing?
Right.
Too?
I would say something that I've learned is to just respect your students. The biggest thing for me is if I don't show them respect, there's no way they would ever show me respect. So, especially being a young guy like myself, one of the biggest things I tell myself going into each school year so far is respect your students. Every day you walk in that classroom, and you're going to get that same type of respect back.
Absolutely, that is huge. And I thought recently, because the older I get, I keep learning more things about myself as well. And I think, I've always gone back to teamwork. Why have I always been one of those people where it's teamwork? But respect goes into that teamwork because you're all team player, you're all working together, you're trying to, and I have a tough time for people who don't want to be a team player. So I can see, but that's the same way for what I am going with it, is like with the whole respect thing. It's a two-way street.
Absolutely.
You give what you get what you give.
Absolutely.
And so when you have students that are really struggling, what is it that you try to help them? How do you help them get to that next level?
I try to offer as many different types of ways to help that I can. I offer before school, I offer after school. During my conference period, I've even been setting up Zoom meetings with some of my students. I actually had one today where I just meet during my conference period with them to discuss some of the things that they're not quite understanding, and then trying to just make sure that kids are able to get outside resources. So I've been doing some video recording where kids can go back and re-watch a lesson that we've done to go over that. And I think a big thing right now that a lot of some students may be forgetting is research, especially at the high school level. Almost every topic that we cover, if you research well, you can find it. And you can actually go through, research it, kind of understand where a lot of the points are coming from. So I think the internet has been absolutely huge, obviously, especially this year. But when it comes to kids that that need that extra help, I think that the internet has been a really good resource for them.
Okay. And I already told you that geometry was one of those things where I just absolutely could not, it was a mess for me when I was younger. What can you tell parents to help them to get their student through math? What is maybe the number one thing? Is it research, like you said, or is it just stay in it and don't lose focus?
I think it's a mindset. I really do, because I know math is really, for some people, math is really, really difficult. And when they walk into a math room, sometimes they just shut off immediately.
Right.
So if you're able to, at a young age with your kids, start developing a mindset that is not so negative when it comes to math.
Yes.
Start developing maybe a more positive mindset where we're getting a little bit more excited about it than we are, dreading it.
Yeah.
I think that would go a really long way.
Awesome advice. Awesome advice. I'm highlighting you as a teacher, and I've got some gift certificates, and I know one of them I'm going to get to you. But Ava Jewelers, there's a gift card from Ava Jewelers. You can use it for yourself or for somebody that you care about. Also, there's Ireland Spa and Salon. So there's that one, and then also Walker Shoe Center. They are just wonderful folks in the community that help. Awesome. That when we highlight somebody, like yourself that I get to have on and say thank you and kudos to you and everything that you do.
Thank you.
And best of luck in your career
Thank you
in
so
math
much.
and everything
Thank
that you
you.
do. Folks, Dylan Sharp, teacher at LHS. Yes, yes, yes. That's all I have. I will be back in just a minute. It's Down Home with Tina.
Fairfield Federal. When it comes to our customers and our community, we go above and beyond to help. Our people make the difference.
We were retiring from Tucson, Arizona, and we made a retirement trip out around Ohio, having decided that's where we wanted to be. And we came across this town called Lancaster, and we fell in love with the downtown area where the fountain is and the memorials and the flags and all this stuff. And we looked around and I said, there's our bank right there.
There's something to be said about a community bank in your hometown.
Right. If you live in the community, you should do business in the community as much as possible. So it makes sense to bank with the community bank where you live.
Fairfield Federal is the bank to be at. If you live in this town, or any town actually, you want to bank at a local home bank. And the employees are happy here, they're conversant, customer service is through the roof. There's nothing more you could ask for.
Personal or business banking, whatever you need, we take it seriously because we know you do. Stop by today at any of our 3 locations and see why the difference is clear. Fairfield Federal Savings and Loan specializes in banking that revolves around you.
Member FDIC Equal Housing Lender.
Welcome back to Down Home with Tina. I always see things on social media and I find so many awesome and positive things. I know a lot of folks that I have met in the past have said, oh, I don't like social media, there's so much negativity. What I like about it though is that for me, I just keep it under control. I just make sure that if I am a friend with somebody who likes to throw out negativity, then I probably more than likely don't follow them, because you can be a friend on Facebook of somebody and just not follow, so you don't like see their feed. That may not sound like something ideal, but guess what, folks? I got rid of negativity a long, long time ago. So when I see something positive, I love to share it with you, my viewers. And this is something I had recently also seen that was just, I thought, oh, cool, I want to learn a little bit about him. Charlie Chaplin. Do you know who he is? He was born in April 16th of 1909. He lived to be 88 years old, and he had some really cool quotes and stuff. He happened to have been an English comic actor, filmmaker, a composer. He rose to fame in the era of silent film, and so he really made an important and was an important figure during that time in the history of the film industry. And folks, what I want to share with you is some of the things that he had to say and the positive quotes, and I saw it and I thought, oh, that is so awesome, and that is so true. So in his 88 years, some of the things that he lived by and shared with folks, you can call them a bunch of different positive quotes if you'd like, or statements that he made. Nothing is forever in this world, not even our problems. Amen to that. I love walking in the rain because no one can see my tears. I think we all do cry. Not everybody, I know. Some people say they don't, but it's okay to just let it out. I know some friends that when I have a conversation with them, they go feel it and let it go and let it be. The most lost day in life is the day that we don't laugh. Holy cow, is he so right on that one. We need to find time to laugh. We need to find it somewhere throughout the day. And if you are having a tough day, call up that best buddy that you know is going to make you laugh. I have a few of them, and I'm blessed enough to have that, thank goodness. 6 best doctors in the world is the sunshine, rest, exercise, diet, yes, that's for sure, self-respect, and friends. Stick to all of the stages of those things in each stage of your life and enjoy a healthy life. If you see the moon, you see the beauty of God. If you see the sun, you will see the power of God. If you see a mirror, you will see one of God's best creations. So believe it. Folks, we're all tourists. God is our travel agent who has already identified our route in life. So just enjoy and have the best life that you can have. Life is just a journey, so I just want you to live for today. Folks, I've got some great sponsors, and these folks, and Down Home with Tina is brought to you by these And if it weren't for them, I couldn't be here. I want to thank you. Hey, oh, there you go. Also, if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be here. Thank you so very much. I hope you have a wonderful and blessed week. God bless. Until we meet again, it'll be next week. It's Down Here with Tina.